Hi everyone, I am Jason Alcott, author of The Sewing Principle. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. I am so glad you are here today. Now, I almost didn't make this week's video, not because I've had a really hectic week or it was, challenging or whatever, all these extraneous circumstances of life that happen to all of us. I almost didn't make today's video because it's a tough topic. It hits hard. We talk about things in this channel. We talk about your personal growth. We talk about your spiritual growth. We talk about your growth as a leader. And today's more about leadership growth, both in your own personal life and in the teams that you get to serve. So a handful of years ago, a gentleman by the name of Jocko Willink wrote a book called Extreme Ownership. And it's all about taking personal responsibility in your life. And it's a great book. I'd highly recommend it. Get it in your library. It's great. It's encouraging. It's inspiring. It's challenging. You're reading this book. You want to take responsibility in your life. And you go along and all of a sudden you get to chapter 2 and it's called There Are No Bad Teams, Only Bad Leaders. So they tell this great story in the book about these Navy SEALs that are going through Hell Week. I imagine, with the name Hell Week, I imagine it's pretty brutal. But they're talking about this particular point in the week where they are having these boat races. So they've split up all these Marines into teams of 5 or 6 guys, and they're racing and they're doing this sort of course over and over and over again. And if you're the winning team, you actually get to sit out the next race. They're telling this story and they've got one team that is they're gelling as a team. They're working together really, really well. They're consistently winning races, often way out in front. They're really working well together. And then there's another team, sort of the polar opposite, that is consistently coming in last place by a significant margin. They're all frustrated. The leader's frustrated. Everybody's sort of doing their own thing. They're not working together. And they've got these two teams, this sort of dichotomy on either ends of the spectrum here. So what they do is they actually swap the two leaders. They take the leader from the best boat, the winning boat, the consistently winning boat. They take that leader and then they swap him out with the leader from the boat that's consistently coming in last place, and they change places. And so you can imagine the feeling that this guy that had been leading the team that was in last, he's like, wow, well now I'm definitely going to win, right? Like I've got a really good team. And the leader that was leading the, first place boat, I'm sure he was frustrated, but he accepts, his orders. That's what you do. You're a Marine. He accepts his orders and he goes over to work with his team that had been consistently coming in last place. And so the gun goes off and away they go. They're heading around the course. You can't see anything. We're out in the waves. They're coming around. But as they start to round the corner, you actually see that there's 2 boats that are out in the lead. And the winning boat ends up being the one with the leader that was consistently winning with the other team. Now he's won the race with the team that was consistently coming in last place. Nothing else changed. The only thing that changed on those teams, all the men were the same, was the leader, right? And these are obviously pretty strong guys. You don't make it to Marines Hell Week unless you're very physically fit, something I probably will never be. All other things being equal, the only thing that changed on these teams was the leader. How interesting is that? How fascinating is that? When everything else remains equal, leadership really is the defining factor in a team's success and growth, or potentially a team's failure. And so this concept of no bad teams, only bad leaders fits really well in this book of taking extreme ownership in your life, of taking responsibility. But now we're talking about it not just in your personal life, but when you're actually leading and serving a team. And I'm sure, like you, over the years, I've had many opportunities to be a part of a team as a team member, right? And I've also had more opportunities over the last number of years, handful of years, to lead and serve a team as a leader. When you're in those situations, I find when things aren't going well, whether you're a team member or you're the team leader, all of a sudden what happens, right? Things aren't going well and it's like, bam, we're gonna point fingers at everybody. It's all about the blame game. Well, it's not my job, it's not my responsibility. But when you're a leader, you get this unique opportunity to take responsibility for the team. So what's not working? Analyze it. Find out where things aren't working. And then what are you tolerating that maybe needs to change? What discussions need to be had? How can you align people towards the goal? Get them back focused on, what's the greater good that we're working towards here? Because often when there's a great goal or great something that's being worked towards, that will benefit the entire team if it goes forward. If you're in business, that's better for everyone on the team, right? That means more potential for raises or bonuses if you're in, the business situation, or if you're in an organizational situation or nonprofit organization, perhaps everyone recognizes that, hey, if the team wins, if the team is gelling, that means that you're moving towards more impact. You're potentially saving more lives or feeding more kids or whatever it is that you're working towards. You need to have that goal and then be able to recognize, okay, so what's not moving us towards that goal? Remember that as a leader, you have signed up for solving problems. That's what a leader gets to do. You've signed up for finding solutions and creating opportunities out of challenging situations. That's what the leader gets to do, right? If it was going to be easily solved, somebody on your team would have already solved it. What am I tolerating? What am I allowing to happen within the team that maybe I need to stop or clean up or refocus and say, hey, look, you know what, we don't allow this, or we don't tolerate this. This is the team that we are. This is the action, the desired action that we're trying to take. And so this brings us back to what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, where, when things are going well, you really want to give away the credit. You want to give all the credit to your team, praise them, give them opportunities to be recognized and to grow. But when things aren't going well, we own that. We take that responsibility. We run forward and say, hey, you know what? I own this. This is what's happened. Here's what we're going to be able to do to make the adjustments going forward. This is my mistake. This is what I've tolerated that shouldn't be tolerated. Here's how we're going to realign and go forward. So John Maxwell says, everything rises and falls on leadership. I think the saying of saying there's no bad teams, only bad leaders is really saying the same thing, but the language is stronger. And for me, when I read this book, it was kind of like, it kind of kicked me in the gut a little bit. I've never forgotten the phrase. It's always stuck with me. No bad teams, only bad leaders. And it pushes me and it challenges me to be a better leader. It challenges me to be a better person or a better part of a team. I want to be a part of a team that's winning, as I know you do. I want to serve and lead a team that's winning, as I know that you do. Don't allow it to beat you up. I know I have a tendency, I can be hard on myself when things aren't going well. Use it to fuel you towards something positive. Use it to push you to improve, to push you out of inertia when maybe things aren't going well, that you want to be able to make the positive changes and be able to go forward. And one last line out of this chapter, out of Extreme Ownership, they said, it's not what you preach, it's what you tolerate. So take that. I hope you have an absolutely blessed rest of your day, and I look forward to connecting with you again next week. Thank you again so much for sharing this video with those that you think that it could benefit. I really appreciate it. Have a great day.